welcome back to the Deep Threats podcast. We are live and in action today. Back to you for the offseason. Sorry we didn't come to you after the Super Bowl. I'm going to be honest, I had enough Super Bowl talk for a solid week leading up to. And I'll tell you right now, after we said what we said on the show, saying that we probably thought Kansas City was going to win when we were putting our money on the Niners just because we're avid fans, and it's not what we wanted to see happen. Exactly what happened. We said exactly what would happen. But before we get into anything that we're going to talk to about today, as always, you have me, your host of the show, KJAM, and then you have my wonderful host here, Wheels.
Hey guys!
All right.
Thank you for showing up today. I know it's a later show. We weren't here Wednesday. I was not feeling the greatest. I still just had some pain from wisdom teeth, but we are back.
I've got zero excuses for you, outside of the fact that I just did not want to talk football. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to get into it a little bit today with a few things. Probably...
What do you want to get into first?
Here's
talk about it a lot.
Well, first things first, right? Hey, Kelly, how you doing today? Oh, sweet. Glad to hear you guys are out there. First things first, right? Fantasy. Let's talk a little bit of fantasy, okay. Right?
Yeah.
End of seasons. Everybody has their Super Bowls. Great for all you guys, and probably have their postseason parties. Which I think the easiest way to have a postseason party is the day of the draft.
Yeah.
Because it makes life easy and you don't have to deal with too much there. How do you do your postseasons?
So our postseasons it's a redraft format. Once the season ends, it ends, and then I restart it sometime week 1 of preseason football, and we draft that first the first Friday before games.
Okay, so you do yours week 1 of preseason.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that's
kind of how we get set up.
A lot of my redrafts, we usually do it the last week of preseason because of injuries and cuts.
Yeah, like my big money league, I'm in a thing with some people from Xbox and other guys from like Sleeper, so they're out of different states, so we really don't get together, which would be sweet. I'd like to get together with like guys like Aaron.
I love a live draft. Live draft is my favorite.
Yeah, I love live drafts.
And actually, it's so easy to do a live draft nowadays. Like we have YouTube. Like, if you could stream YouTube from your phone in your basement, why can't you do a live draft?
Yeah, like
it's pretty easy nowadays. That being said, like I was just kind of curious because I know that a lot of people get burnt out towards the end of the season.
Yeah,
and
it's a long year.
What happens is they just disappear, right? Like they'll ghost you even for like trying to gather postseason
or payment.
Or especially payment. Like, I'm sure Bo in the chat could explain a little bit about people ghosting him on payment. And his is a family league.
That's messed up.
Which is even funnier. I mean, I'm in it with him too, so obviously friends too. But for the most part, a lot of it's family. It's funny. But we always had people ghost where as commissioners you have to... Unfortunately, that's the biggest role of a commissioner, right? Is to supplement the cost loss when someone doesn't do that.
Yeah, and so I had somewhat of that predicament last year. A guy waited till the last week to pay, like last week, like before the payments came out for everybody, and I said, well, if he doesn't pay, I'll just take it out of my pocket. Like it's just part of it.
And you only do that for so long. Like, and then you're like, you know what? If you want to be in the league, you have to have your money up front day one. It's got to be there.
Which I did. I actually did do this year, and only one guy didn't pay, and it was a fight with him getting money. It was like fighting 2-year-old.
Are you serious?
It was one guy who did not pay day of or the day after the draft. It was only one guy, and he's not going to be in the league next year. I don't blame you. I don't blame you for $50. It's not that much money, bro.
I don't blame you. I do not blame you. I just find it funny. I have a couple people in my league sometimes, and I just know the money's good. It's gonna get there.
Yeah.
And
like majority of the guys.
But it does stress me.
Yeah.
It does stress me because like come towards the Super Bowl, right? Like people are just sitting there like, you're trying to, like, God, I hope they pay me before I have to make payments. Like,
I hope my bet's hit so I can pay
like,
it. Come on.
it does stress me. Because I'm also avid for doing it, but I'm the commissioner, so like I could just go grab money out of the bank, right?
Well, that's my thing. I collect all the money either goes in the Cash App or I get it cash and it goes directly into a.
I have a separate bank. I have a separate bank account just for holdings for fantasy. So like I can add, I think, up to 5 like savings accounts attached to my checking account. So I just mark one as fantasy payouts. It makes it easier that way.
The worst is the horror stories I hear on like Facebook through a lot of my fantasy leagues. Is guys will pay like $150 and the commissioner just will not pay you for a month because they spent the money. Like, that's a dick move. You can't do that,
dude.
Like spending money that's not yours. Like that's just dirty.
Cow. I will tell you though, and it's funny because I have a standard, right? Like, I'm not going to do to somebody else that I wouldn't want done to me,
exactly,
right? Okay.
Right?
So, like, but it's funny because a lot of people will be like, when are you going to pay out, right? Like, and I'll be like, well, postseason party, you be there, you get your money.
I pay
They're
out week at.
Well, there's some people that literally are like, can I come get it early? It's like, no, it's a whole, for me, it's a whole event. So, like, you get your payout. And then I was sitting there thinking, because I won this year, I'm like, I can just take the money. And I'm like, no, I wouldn't do that to somebody else. So I'm not going to do that to me. It's just, it's funny that way. But the reason why I brought this up, though, is I'm just kind of curious because you're in the group chat, right?
Yes.
And we talk a little bit about Dynasty and how Dynasty is being ran. And I just want to know how you feel about a shutdown period for Dynasty.
My one Dynasty league, Aaron's not in it. It's a smaller Dynasty league with some other friends. We do a shutdown from the end of the Super Bowl up, I believe, until draft. Like the
wow,
date,
you do yours all the way up to like April 27th. So like the actual day of the draft.
Like you can still essentially, I believe, drop players. You can just not trade draft picks or pick up players is the only thing I know.
I'm trying to figure out how to,
because what can happen is you message the commissioner and he drops the people that you want dropped off.
I'm okay with that.
I know it's a little bit harder, but it keeps people from.
But it locks the rosters and allows me to make roster moves as a commissioner.
Yeah, and like,
if you want to cut somebody, I get it. But unfortunately, I can't lock a roster without locking all transactions.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we can't add anybody. Do draft picks, but we can drop people is the only thing we're allowed to do. So like perfectly with what's said, because we do have defensive players in that league. If I were to have, you just got cut from the Bears.
Oh, safety.
Yes, A. Jackson. If he was on my team and I want to drop him, I could drop him that way. But I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't make that big of a deal to me in regard because everybody shut down, so you're not really gaining an advantage over anybody personally. So that's just my opinion on it.
I just figured I figured I'd ask just because of that simple fact.
And I think it goes towards burnout a little bit too, to where what you said is
burnout's a big factor dependent on the type of person who owns the team.
Yeah, and Dynasty is a every week kind of thing a lot of the times with some of these Dynasty leagues where it's opened all year round, but I don't even pay attention to it. And I'm in leagues like that. It's a free league. It's just for fun. I try to see how I can build up teams. I don't really pay attention in the off season this early on because
it is early.
I don't think it matters that much.
It's not that it doesn't matter. Like, so like if you got a guy, I'm gonna throw one out there, right? Like Marlon Mack, right? A guy who you might have been holstering, thought something would happen, thought he would have a potential, and he's sitting there and he's a free agent for Arizona. You're gonna sit there and go, just cut him, right? Like, yeah. But then someone might be like, I see that cut, and here's what I tell people: like, if you want to pick him up, just write it down. Like, just put a benchmark on. Flag. You can literally tag players, I think.
I think you can flag them or favorite. I think it's starring.
I think you can favorite them, especially
I think it's like a star.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
I think you can.
That's what I run all my leagues through. I only use Sleeper now. I've only used Sleeper for the last 2 years. It's great.
I mean, to me, it is one of the most efficient apps.
Yeah, because
they've gotten better and better honestly, with feedback.
Yeah, you get your news. They have they just had their end of the year, as you mentioned, their feedback. So anybody that has any issues, and they're constantly improving it, which I love. I mean, from 2 years ago, it hasn't been bad. Sorry. There we go. All right, from 2 years ago.
Speaking at the side of it, it's like, man, no matter how you talk, it seems
it hasn't been bad, but they've definitely improved it. And the nice thing is you get a lot of breaking news. It's usually a few minutes later than when like Schefter or Ian Rappaport puts it out. It's not too much later.
It's literally like on point.
Like maybe a minute or two later before they or after they post. But
Sleeper actually has insiders too, so it's pretty impressive what they've done within the short amount of time that they've been an NFL app for fantasy.
I think 5 or 6 years.
I think it's about 8 to 10.
Okay, I know it's been on like.
I've been using it for about 5.
It was on computer first. It wasn't even a mobile app at one point.
Well, and actually was really a horrible mobile app, and then it flipped and it became a horrible computer app
because everything was mobile
and everything became mobile.
He did
flip
Sleeper is pretty much what the NFL fantasy app wanted to be.
Yeah, they dropped the ball, man.
That app is horrible. I've played two years.
I loved NFL Fantasy because I like the trophies in NFL Fantasy.
Yeah.
And I really like the more like the analytics side that they keep. But that's about it.
The nice thing about Sleeper too is the weekly.
The worst, though.
Yeah, the nice thing about Sleeper is the weekly breakdowns too. I really like that.
Well, Fantasy used to do that too. NFL Fantasy.
I don't know if that, like I said, I haven't used NFL in a long time.
But I agree with you. I think that they took everything that everybody liked from the NFL Fantasy apps and started incorporating. So now the longevity and your history, you now have a history of your team. It's now built into it.
And there's even betting on Sleeper too as well.
Which is crazy that they incorporated that.
I would love to see the revenue Sleeper makes with it being a free app. Because I don't think they take any type of percentage when you do a paid league there. I think it all goes to what's called a league safe or leaguesafe.com.
I've never tried. I've never done it that way. I do cash leagues.
And the fact that it's a free league is pretty crazy.
It is. I mean,
free app,
every app's been that way.
But it's just Sleeper is just so much better.
It is pretty darn.
It's like the king of all.
All right,
sorry not to get stuck on fantasy.
No, you're good.
Still,
no, I mean it's the off season. It's what we talk about sometimes in the off season. The reason I just asked that, like I said, is I wanted to know how you feel about that dead period. Mainly
there's not much going on.
My biggest thing about it is I don't want burnout. Right, like so when I do a dead period, I do mine at league year end, which is the Super Bowl after the Super Bowl. And I know a lot of people are like, well, they're still cutting players. Like I get it. Most of the stuff you're hearing though isn't official. But most of the stuff you're hearing isn't official, right? Like I think the last day of the league is February 14th.
Yes.
Like I think it's Valentine's Day or something crazy like that.
And then we're officially in the 2020. I don't know if we're officially.
No, you're not officially in the 2024 season until March 13th.
Okay.
Which is post the combine.
Yes.
Okay, so like. I want to say I have these all in my calendar. And I did it this year on purpose to make sure I had it in my calendar. But, so you're looking at... So the Combine is February 27th through March 4th.
Okay.
And then I believe March 12th? No, I don't know. But I believe it might be March 12th.
Is officially start of the new year?
Yeah, the official start of the new year.
So you're looking at a month of dead period for you,
March?
I'm guessing, right? When do you go back? When did you shut down, actually?
Day after the Super Bowl.
Okay, and when do you open back up?
The day the NFL opens up.
So you're looking at 30 days.
It's roughly about 3 to 4 weeks, yeah.
That's not bad, though. I mean, it's just...
And I do it 3 hours before league year open.
Okay.
So, and the reason for that purpose is because if there are rumors or things tracking or trending at that point in time, you have 3 hours to make the moves you need to make before the official moves have been made. And as we all know, what's said to be official isn't always official.
It has to be officially official.
Didn't Ian Rapp say this with the whole, was it Ben Johnson going to Washington? Where they're like, oh, it's almost official. And then it wasn't Ben Johnson, ended up being Dan Quinn.
Oh yeah. I think it was.
He's like, well, it was set in stone, and then they didn't sign it, so he backed out last minute. Like he's like, sometimes this stuff happens, and that's my point though. Is like nothing's really truly set in stone at that point until the league year starts. Like we can all say, hey, these are the rumors that have been had. Speaking of rumors, did you see how much it was going to cost to get T. Higgins if he's tagged and traded?
I did not.
I think it was a second and a third.
No. No.
And then
Not without signing a long-term deal. I'm not giving up two. I'm sorry, but so you may view this, the viewers may view this as a little bit different for me. So the first to the third those are high draft picks to me. First, second, third, those are very valuable draft picks at the end of the day for me. Fourth is where it starts to trickle off a little bit. I feel like your first and second round draft picks are guys that need to make an impact day one. Third guy is, we can coach him up, for the year, or maybe even in mini camp into the beginning of the year, preseason. Maybe by week 10, he'll hit his stride. But week 4 is kind of where that expectation to prove yourself and to be a day one starter starts to trickle off. So that's just how I view it. A second and third round pick. That's essentially that's
I don't
a lot
disagree
of
with you,
that's a lot of value. I mean, that's a lot of.
I think in this draft, trading a T Higgins or trading for like a T Higgins or something like that is
kind of. I mean, I think there's wide receivers out there that are similar.
Right. It's kind of more on the risky side to go, hey, I'm going to go trade future wide receivers, and he's young. He is young. He's not old.
And I mean, we kind of talked about this. I wish we had it, like you said, on the show about Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk.
He's currently under contract.
Yeah, so, I would like to see him traded. He's under a 5th-year option. I think he should be making more money. I think he's making $14 million this year. I think he's worth more than that.
How much more?
I think he's worth about 18 to 19.5.
That's top 10 wide receiver money.
Which he can be a top 10 wide receiver. He's been consistent the last 3 years.
We know who's in this league, right? I'm not putting him in top 10.
I don't know.
He might break 15 for me.
I think he can be top 10. You got to think, some of these guys are getting older. Cup, he's getting older.
I don't disagree with you.
Devontae Adams,
Tyreek Hill still led the league.
Tyreek Hill.
CeeDee Lamb was young. Jamar Chase is young. Justin Jefferson is young.
Jamar Chase is in a top 5 wide receiver. Or top 10, yes, sorry.
Puka Nacua is young.
Top 10, yes.
Do you see where I'm going with this? Like, all those guys are under 25.
No, I get it. I'm just saying, I think Ayuk is worth the money more than T. Higgins.
Jalen Waddle.
Because would
you rather pay Jalen Waddle or Brandon Ayuk?
Brandon Ayuk.
Really?
Yes. I'm not I like Ayuk. He's a more so.
Don't say that. I know where you're going to go with that
Jalen Waddle, I feel, is a better route runner at times and creates separations. But Brandon Ayuk is a stronger wide receiver that can catch 50-50 balls at a better rate and has stronger hands. That's at least from what I watched. I watched him.
I don't disagree.
When he was at Arizona State, I liked. I mean, he does. I believe it was Arizona State when I watched this film. He looked very good. I mean, he was a first-round draft pick for a reason, and he's proven it.
I definitely don't disagree.
And he's gotten better. I mean, I don't think we've seen the best of Ayuk yet because he's still in the shadow of Deebo Samuel.
He's 26 years old, right? 26, 27 years old, and you don't think we've seen the best of Ayuk?
I don't think we've seen like the top like. A lot of these guys you just don't. A lot of guys take a couple years before. I mean, this is his fifth year. You got to remember who he's played with.
I'm not.
And Brock Purdy, very good year this year and last year, but before that it was Jimmy G and I think backups essentially before that. So it's not like he played with.
Yeah, but you're gonna say that about Scary Terry, who's consistently doing all that,
or Mike Evans.
Mike Evans had Tom Brady and
he had Tom Brady for 2 years and Baker for 1. No, 2.
I thought he was there for 3.
2. It might have been 3.
Didn't he go to the Super Bowl for 2 and miss the playoffs and 1?
I think he
went to the Super Bowl twice with Tampa Bay, right? He won 1, lost 1.
No, I think he won.
Or no, he won 1 and lost in the playoffs, I think.
Hold on.
I think it was 3. I'm trying to find
Chad, help me out. Come on.
Oh, they're quiet in chat today. So, yeah, he's under a 1-year contract, $14 million.
I like Ayuk, so maybe it's because I like T. Higgins, too. And you know how much I like T. Higgins. I've called T. Higgins, 3 years. You're correct. My bad.
I thought so.
Yeah, but even with that, So
Ayuk's definitely a trade.
Let me ask you this. Not on the Browns, just you're starting a team. Who would you rather have, Ayuk, T. Higgins? I think they're similar in a sense.
Starting a team?
I think they are somewhat similar in a sense. I do.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go out of the way for either if I'm starting a team.
Let's say it's your weapon.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
I think if I had to pick a guy, I'd say T because I think he's a better 50-50 guy.
Okay.
But route runner, I'd probably have to say Ayuk, right?
And he creates a little bit more separation than T does.
That's a tough one for me. I definitely understand the comparables. Like I can understand that. Yeah, if I had to go pick a guy, it's hard, right? I think T. Higgins. I think they're the same age, right? I think they came in the same draft. Yeah.
Do you think he's making what he's going to make next year, 14 to 15? Do you think that is what he is capped at? Which I don't hate. I can do a.
I mean, if Amon-Ra,
a 5-year deal.
If Amon-Ra's looking at around 24 to 25, right?
And Amon-Ra's much better than both those guys. Amon-Ra's top 10. I'm sorry, but he is.
That's why I said Ayuk can't be top 10, right? I named 5 guys that are under Ayuk's age that are all better than him. And that's why I was like, and then you got Marvin Harrison coming into the draft, who a lot of people would project better than Ayuk. So that's why I'm like, I'm gonna struggle getting Ayuk at 10. Really I won't even put T. Higgins above 10.
No, I wouldn't
right?
either.
Like,
I wouldn't either.
I don't put DK Metcalf at 10.
No.
Like, these are guys that I would love to, but they're not.
They're top 20s, right? T. Higgins,
they're
Ayuk.
Some of them are around 15 to 20.
Metcalf, they're top 20s, right?
I agree.
I mean, I guess you could put T maybe below, but outside of this year where he was injured, even when he didn't have Joe Burrow that year and he had Jeff Driscoll, he still put up numbers.
Number 2 wide receiver, and I think that it's decreased more and more just for the simple fact that, like you said, his separation is lacking. So you need to have a very trusting quarterback, which is Joe Burrow, who's going to throw that ball to you without separation.
And accurate.
Without separation. He just trusts himself. So, like, a great landing spot for T. Higgins would be the Chargers. Right?
Or
Justin Herbert.
Or honestly, Dallas. As much as I hate to say it, Dallas would be
Dak would sling it. I agree. I mean, you want a quarterback who has confidence in his ability to throw the ball.
And can fit into a tight window.
I have to fit it. Like, T's
but
a good
he can get there
guy.
quick.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't even be opposed to like a Geno, but they have wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, you got JSN, you have DK, you still have Lockett.
But where a place that he shouldn't go, right, like, is the Eagles. No. Because Jalen Hurts only trusts himself over top-down field. He didn't trust throwing those 50-50 balls to A.J. Brown at Devontae
And
Smith.
he did not trust himself throwing over the middle sometimes with traffic, which is a big reason why.
When he lost Goddard, he lost that confidence in throwing across the seam.
And
I agree.
That is the biggest thing that draws me away from a wide receiver that is great to a quarterback that is great to a quarterback that is elite.
Yeah,
confidence all over the field.
Well, ability to throw a receiver open and ability to trust your arm strength.
Yeah, and ability to hit a guy in stride.
Yeah, they do matter. Another wonderful rumor this week was the Justin Fields thing. How do we feel about this right now?
So we talked with Bo about it last Friday. And I can see where he's coming from for the money aspect, and he's due a new contract. But as I said, my biggest thing with Caleb Williams, and we'll get more into this in our quarterback breakdown, but from the film that I have watched of Caleb Williams, and I was a huge fan of him, this last year, and I have watched tons of games, tons of film about him. The one biggest gripe I have about him outside of his character, his play-wise, is, again, he does not have that confidence to throw over the middle of the field. He checks down a lot. He leaves the pocket early. He doesn't let plays develop. And I don't like that in Chicago. I don't understand. His team has said that he does not want to be there. Justin Fields loves that city. He embraces that city. He wants to be there. I don't understand why. I hope they don't. But Kelly, not to be rude to Bo, not to be rude to you, if they do take it, it is a Chicago Bears move. It makes sense with what they have done in the past. I'm
kind of with wheels on this one. I don't mean to get into the Chicago thing.
Yeah, so
I'm more meant to get into the Justin Fields thing because Justin Fields is supposed to be. I think Chicago's looking for a day 2 and a day 3 pick for Justin Fields. So that means somewhere around 2 and 3, and they want to pick probably 1 or 2 picks in the 4 through 7. So that's the rumor I saw.
If you're saying that's all you run, why do you want a guy exactly similar to Justin Fields then for more money, essentially? What's the point of that? You're not getting any better at quarterback. I think you're getting worse.
I didn't want to get the Chicago thing. We'll get into the Chicago thing.
No, but if that's what he's saying, it's less money, but it's
not less money.
It's the same talent.
Hold up a second. It's not less money. It's more rookie years.
And character is a big issue. Justin Fields has the character to be a franchise quarterback in Chicago. I'm telling you right now, Caleb Williams does not have the character and the mentality to be a quarterback in Chicago. He cannot take that big city mentality with that big city type of press. He will fluster.
I have a question, and then we'll move on. I know you guys are in chat. Not Justin Fields. Caleb Williams. Do you think Caleb Williams gets a full contract if he plays good his first year? Do you think he makes it through his rookie contract without signing a full-size contract?
What do you mean, like an extension? He goes to the end, then he signs an extension, or
I don't think he makes it to the 5th year.
I don't think so either. I don't think Caleb Williams has
I truly don't think it's cheaper. No, I'm saying that what if Caleb is what Caleb was supposed to be, right?
Okay, so Patrick Mahomes.
Let's say Caleb Williams I hate that comment.
I know, but I don't agree with it. We both know this, but that's what the media is saying. The kid's overrated. He's more overrated than Trevor Lawrence.
Caleb Williams is worth the money that people are saying he's worth.
He's going to get a contract for 3 years.
I think he gets a contract in 2.
Which he definitely could if
4 years, $36.7 million is the actual rookie contract, but that's dependent on sign-on bonus. That's dependent on what they do,
and it goes up every year.
And to be honest with you, you only owe Justin Fields $6 million right now.
So essentially, you're going to owe more.
Who?
Chicago, if they. And the problem is if you don't.
I would assume if they trade Justin Fields, that $6 million follows him.
Yeah, but I'm saying wouldn't Caleb be making more at that point? And rookie contracts, you have to remember, rookie contracts are fully guaranteed.
His first hit would be almost $19 million the first year. So you take a hit on cap space, for sure. That's why when he said it's cheaper, it's not cheaper. To go draft Caleb Williams is not cheaper.
And you may get an extra 2 years, or a few extra years, but that's it. It's not essentially cheaper.
Correct.
It's essentially you're spreading money out longer.
Yeah, and then that 5th year option, you're spending another $23 million. He can't negotiate after 2 years. They will not sign a big money if they don't have to.
Then he'll sit like every other.
That's my question. You've already seen his mentality.
If he knows he has the confidence, we've already seen the character. He is worried about himself. I'm sorry, but he's not a team player. He's not. He's worried about me.
I can't
myself,
guarantee that
and
but I understand what you're saying based on what we've seen this offseason.
And I was a huge fan of this guy. I think it's a mistake if Chicago drafts him. And if Chicago drafts him and he's what I think he is and I think he's a bust.
I mean,
then
we all saw what happened with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Right? Like Lamar Jackson pretty much told them, "Screw you, I don't want to play," and they said, "Go ahead, test the trade portal." And see if you can make more money than what we're offering you. And he's like, shit, I can't. And then Jalen Hurts signed his contract, and then Lamar's like, I guess I'll sign that contract. And that's kind of how that happened. Herbert's signing a 5-year, $260 million deal.
Okay, and
what
does that have to do with
where is that going with anything?
What does that have to do with what you're
Brock
talking
went
about?
to the Super Bowl, and they won't do it for a few years still.
This
doesn't have to any conversation with Justin Herbert and Caleb. And I wouldn't even mean to talk about Caleb.
I don't know what Fields asked for because Fields was injured last year. I think he's going to. He hasn't asked for a new contract yet. He's going to play out the year and he's going to bet on himself.
Yeah, I think that's
what's going to happen.
The biggest issue, Bo, and I agree with you, is that before the year starts, they have to either take his 5th year option or not, right? So that's tough for Chicago if they don't have confidence in him. So that's why I understand the Caleb Williams thing. I'm not, and we all don't know that it could be Caleb. It could be Drake May. They could go completely, totally different direction than a running quarterback.
I hope they go Bo.
It could go
I hope
Drake
they go
May.
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix is not going top 10.
I know he's not.
But I'm just saying they could go Drake May. They could go Jaden Daniels. They could go Jaden Daniels.
As much as I love Bo Nix, we'll get into quarterback talk. I don't think he can go to a system that is somewhat broken. He needs some surrounding cast.
Tutelage. He needs tutelage.
He needs essentially what Herbert kind of
I don't disagree.
A team that's already jump-started.
But the question was
Better than Drake, better than Bo Nix, or better than Caleb?
she said in her opinion that Drake May is better than Caleb Williams.
Which I can agree with.
So
I like that.
If you come
yes.
look at the board here, Caleb Williams is number one, or Drake May is number one on our chart. Philadelphia Eagles and quarterback Jalen Hurts have agreed to a 5-year extension through the 2028 season. The team announced on Monday the record-setting contract extension is worth $255. What does this have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? I don't disagree. I understand all.
And we've already seen the best of Jalen Hurts.
I think
We've seen his ceiling.
I think you saw his
We've
ceiling
seen
the year
his
he went to the
ceiling.
Super Bowl.
Yes, we did. We all talked about me, you, Steve, Ryan. We all agreed that was his ceiling.
Yeah.
We talked about it today with Cam Newton. Cam Newton's MVP season was the ceiling. He was mid.
$200 million for Justin Fields. Oh, so that's where you're going with this. You think, no, Justin Fields is in a Baker Mayfield situation.
Yes, he's a bet on me.
He's still on a prove-it deal because he's yet to be healthy, consistent, or put a winning record on the field. At least Baker Mayfield did one of those.
And took a team to a playoff.
So, no, Justin Fields at one has never really said pay me now, right? He's never come out and said that yet.
He's very quiet.
And Justin Fields has also not been able to put a full season on the books. So, not giving Justin Fields any credit.
No,
first.
but he's not sitting here asking for $250 million over 5 years.
And I'm not knocking Caleb Williams right now either. I just asked a question. Is Justin Fields worth giving up a day 2 and a day 3 pick?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
I think he is.
That was the question I asked. You went into Caleb Williams and took me for a whole loop and got into a fight with Chad.
So I wasn't fighting. I was just trying to state what I felt, and that's fine. Me and Bo, some people think we fight. No, it's more of, I guess, I can get argumentative at time with this stuff. It's not argumentative. It's more of a passion about it. And me and Bo are the same way.
Hey, Bo, Baker Mayfield took a $4 million deal, but I think he also got paid like $6 million because he made playoffs.
It had incentives.
Yeah, there was a lot of incentives in that deal, and that was also a deal after he had been tossed around by 4 teams.
Yeah, this is his 5th team.
So
I think
this is that you're also talking about. This is at the 6th year on his deal. I think it wasn't even his 5th year. That was a 6th year on his deal.
He was 2018 draft pick. So yes. 2018.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So yeah, this was the 6th year.
We're 2 years removed from Justin Fields to where we are with Baker Mayfield. If Justin Fields comes out and he balls like Lamar Jackson,
how many years does Justin Fields have left?
He's in his 4th year.
Okay, so
this upcoming year is his 4th year.
And
so what
does he do to make next year with his 5th year option? I'm not sure exactly.
A 5th year is roughly around $22 million, $23 million, somewhere in that range.
Okay, I mean, I understand where. I know we're getting off topic a little bit, but I understand where the Chicago Bears fans and the front office is coming from. We don't know if we have the confidence in Justin Fields.
I don't have the confidence in the front office.
There's Caleb Williams over here, which is very enticing because, like Bo says, you restart that rookie contract. I get what you're saying, but I feel like, again, it comes down to character with me. Caleb Williams and his team said he does not want to go to Chicago. I don't understand why you want to take a guy that doesn't want to be there.
I did see this crazy mock the other day.
Then you're he's gonna pull the Eli Manning.
Well, that's why I think don't say it's Caleb Williams because it could be Drake May. It 100% could be Drake May. 11-29 record. I can't defend Justin Fields'
like
record.
I said, I'm not defending Justin Fields. I'm just saying I don't think it's a smart move for Chicago.
Do you think you would bring up those same stats for the people that defended Baker Mayfield? Because Baker Mayfield had a losing record because he went through 3 head coaches also. Right? Justin Fields didn't just have one coach, one regime, one situation. I mean, he was in a pretty rough situation with possibly one of the worst coaches in the NFL.
And this is what I said about Baker.
Nagy sucked.
I said about Baker is he did not fit this division well. He fits the NFC South very good, right?
That's just insulting because you're saying he can't win against good teams.
He can't win against good defenses, and he can't.
The NFC South has good defenses.
But again, he has very good talent around him, like he had here.
He's very good. He's got a Browns team in a worse division.
You had 3 top 10 defenses
he has a Browns
here.
team in a worse division.
Yeah,
I agree.
You had 3 top 10 defenses in the AFC North this year.
I agree.
And that's usually every year just about.
So I think that was it for rumors. I know there was one other thing.
Let's go to firings. Steve Wilkes. I really want to talk about this with you because I have lost a lot of respect for Kyle Shanahan.
I don't understand it.
I don't understand how you can fire a guy who held the Chiefs under 20 points in regulation.
Hey, breaking news. 2 juveniles have been charged with crimes connected to the mass shooting at the Super Bowl rally, and that just broke today.
That's nice. That's
So,
real nice.
For all you guys out there who was kind of curious what was going on there,
That's real nice.
there was like 21 people injured and I think, 4 dead or something like that?
Yeah.
So,
It's just sad.
Kelly,
Society is sad.
you cannot fire yourself. Is that a very Stefanski move for Shanahan?
That is a scapegoat move if I've ever seen one. Kyle Shanahan is a fraud. He is a coward, and that's pretty much how I feel about him. The dude's been to 3 Super Bowls, 2 as head coaches. He has held leads in all of them and has lost all 3. Held a lead against the Patriots at one point. What was it? 28-3, 25-point lead, and you lost. I know it was against Tom Brady. Held a 10-point lead against the Chiefs. You lost that with Jimmy G. Again, Super Bowl, and another. You were up by 10 again, and I believe the fourth quarter, and you lost to Patrick Mahomes yet again.
I think the Steve Wilkes firing is an Alex Van Pelt firing. It's definitely just a scapegoat.
Yeah, and he's gonna find footing because I'm gonna tell you right now, if we lose Jim Schwartz next year somehow, I would love to bring Steve Wilkes back because he is a very good defensive head coach or defensive coordinator. Because I believe he was here with either Stefanski his first year or with Freddie Kitchens. I cannot remember, but this team is a lot more talented than it was then.
Bo, that's a lot of games in 3 seasons.
Is that counting
45
playoffs?
games? No, that's not. It's 16 games a year. That's 48 games. That's correct. But I'm just kind of shocked that he won that many games. But it is what it is.
Hold on.
I mean, I
think
don't.
he's right.
I know. I knocked. He looked it up. I know.
Oh no, I know he's right.
Yeah, I know he looked it up.
I'm just trying to think.
Yeah, you're welcome, Bo. I'm shocked just for you.
Yeah, because it was.
First off, I never hated Baker. I just prefer Josh Allen. That's simple. Never hated Baker, just prefer Josh Allen in that draft. I'm just thinking.
Yes, let's say this though, just real quick, since you said that, because I feel the same way.
Baker also was on the field the entire time. Justin Fields has not been.
But let's say this real quick about the Josh Allen Baker Mayfield, because I wanted Josh to. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Josh Allen would not be what he is in Buffalo with all the regime changes in Cleveland.
We've talked about that.
It would not be. Yeah. He would not be.
And I think Justin Fields is struggling in his situation too with everything that's going on. Baker should not have been on the field. Should not have been on the field the entire trip.
Oh no, but he wanted to be. That was a he called that with a shoulder injury.
The first 3 years he should have been on the field. No.
Yeah, it was a first overall pick.
You're talking the fourth. I think she's talking about when he was the last year under Stefanski. That's not included in Bo's stats.
He should have been on the field.
This one's for you guys out there. This also just came in, I think, a couple hours ago. Jimmy Garoppolo got suspended for 2 games, according to PEDs, and that he will possibly be cut, saving the Raiders $11 million.
Good for the Raiders.
Before the roster bonus. So there's a likelihood that he's getting cut.
The Seattle Seahawks are keeping Geno Smith, so he is guaranteed, I believe that's $17.9 million. That is fully guaranteed contract. So they are keeping him for next year, which I love to see.
I don't know what AOC is outside of a political person.
And I hate her.
I knew drugs had to be involved. No natural human is that pretty. I get it. That's funny.
Me.
That's funny. That is pretty funny.
O'Connell, yes. O'Connell, yes. AOC.
Oh, man, that's a bad nickname.
Yeah, it is.
Don't give him that, man. I think AOC is. Oh, I can't even say it without cringing. I think that Aiden O'Connell is probably not going to have a job next year. He's going to be a backup to one of the guys coming in this year, or it's going to be a quarterback's competition for 2 young guys.
I think he's going to be a backup to Drake May.
I think that's kind of all. Geno Smith is also staying on the roster for the Seattle Seahawks, so that's not a reach for them for quarterback.
Again, He, of all the guys that signed Jimmy G, Geno Smith, and Daniel Jones, he is the most successful.
That's funny, Bo.
And I believe he is making the least out of all three of them.
That is funny, Bo. No, I think Devontae Adams is stuck where he's at.
Devontae's not going to the Jets.
Antonio
That's
Pierce,
a pipe dream.
he's a super hyped up guy for Antonio Pierce, and I think no matter what they do, I think he's kind of sold with Antonio Pierce. I don't think he's going anywhere.
And I don't. The problem is I don't think you're getting more than maybe a third-round draft pick for Devontae. They're saying they want a second. I don't think you're going to get a second. They don't have a second to give up this year.
I don't know enough. We'll actually get into that a little bit more when we get into that division.
They have no second.
But we're going to get into the bulk of the show today, and that is what the thumbnail showed, and it is the NFC West. So let's get into this today for the NFC West. What team do you want to hit first, man? Give me a team you want to hit first. Let's
go with the Rams, right? Okay.
All right, let's go with the Rams. And my stuff doesn't work because I pushed the wrong button. There we go.
Team has Matthew Stafford, Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell, Tyler Higbee on offense. I think those areas I think you can go out and maybe they could draft a quarterback a little bit later. Maybe. I don't see them drafting a quarterback in the first.
Let me break this down to you, and I have this in my order. You can argue with me all you want. Team needs quarterback is their first overall need, edge, tackle, interior offensive line, quarterback, safety, linebacker, wide receiver. Those are the team needs that I have.
I would go D tackle edge because Aaron Donald is getting older.
So you think they need D tackle before edge?
Yes. I think you need to shore up the inside before you can.
I don't even have D tackle on there until like later.
I think you do need a D tackle.
Okay.
John Johnson, he's gone. Yes, you have that up there. Yeah, I forgot to say that. He's.
I mean, so
secondary is definitely old for that team.
So these are notable free agents, right? Demarcus Robinson, Carson Wentz, Troy Reeders, Akello Witherspoon, John Johnson, and Duke Shellett. They actually don't have much in free agency this year. Like, some of those guys are reaches for me.
This is a team that gets good draft.
Justin Fields to the Rams would actually be interesting. It would be very interesting. They have the capital to do it. They have the picks to do it. It definitely would be interesting. The $6 million cap hit would not hurt their set. I mean, you obviously see the cap tracker I have right there for them. They've got $35 million available. Huh?
I don't hate it. I like that.
And you're going to a guy who knows how to coach quarterbacks, right? You're going under McVay's system.
Another guy that we just mentioned went through that system. I think that's where he regained his confidence. I believe he regained a lot of his confidence with him. Because that game, when he came in and won him that game with that game-winning drive, you could tell that was the Baker that Browns fans had that first year. The swagger, the confidence, throwing the ball over the field. And I think you're right. I don't hate that. I think that would be a good fit for them. You're not essentially drafting a guy because you don't have a early draft pick to go up and get one of these guys that are the top prospects. I don't think Bo Nix falls that far. I don't think Jaden Daniels falls that far. Michael Penix. I don't think any of those guys fall that far. I do like this because I believe you can still pick up the fifth-year option on him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and so I guess the next question I have, me and you weren't too far off. We definitely said cornerback. You say interior defense line before edge.
Edge is definitely a need, but I think you can get edge in free agency.
No, they're very old. There's a lot out there, but they are old. We're looking at 30, 31, 32-year-old guys.
So I mean, their first-round draft pick, I would love Lautzer to go, but he's a top 5 guy or top 10 guy, so. Yeah,
and I mean, they're picking pretty late because they made it to the playoffs. Yep. Now, I would say, I guess at 19, this is probably, you're looking at a good cornerback there. So I think they're going to possibly get a good cornerback.
I think 19 would be Cooper DeJean, honestly.
It's Cooper or Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I think either of those guys would fit that team very well.
I saw a couple people having mocking Kool-Aid to the second, which kind of shocks. Yeah, it kind of shocks me. I think there's too much need at cornerback in this draft.
Corner is always a heavy need because these guys
and the fifth-year option, right?
Like the fifth-year option is expensive too.
Yeah,
it can be very expensive for corners.
So
same with safeties.
You're welcome for that, everybody in the league. That's per the Browns. Highest paid corner in the NFL for no reason.
Guaranteed to miss 3 games a year.
Thanks, Denzel.
So, So we both agreed that they draft a corner in the first, right?
I think they should. I think that's kind of where they trend, is probably going corner.
Do you think they go edge in the second then at 52? I think they have.
I wouldn't be shocked if their guys there. I wouldn't be shocked if they trade back into the first.
Okay, they have the assets too.
And like they're the type of team that if Bo Nix is there, right? Like I can see them trading.
That gets a good team for him to go to as well. I can see them
trading up to like 33 or 34, right? Like what Tennessee did with Will Levis last year.
Okay.
Like trading back up and high into the second round to make sure that they get a backup quarterback.
I mean, I don't think Bo Nix makes it to the second. I think it's the first round, but I see what you're saying.
I get what you're saying, but I think that
he definitely
based on the demand,
could, because there's about 6 or 7 wide receivers getting drafted.
And it's funny that you got there. It's so funny. Remember me telling you there was going to be 8 max, and you're like, I could see like 4, and I was like 6 minimum. And I was like 6 minimum.
I did my wide receiver, my top 10s. There's 6 to 7 easily getting drafted in the first round this year.
6 minimum.
Yeah,
but
but
there's also a lot of cornerback demand when you start looking at free agency and you start looking at what's out there. There's a lot of cornerback demand. So there's going to be highly drafted cornerbacks in this draft just because they're going to be drafting for the talent and for the position. So I don't have much to say about the Rams. I think they're in a situation where they were last year, right? Like, we thought they were probably going to be the worst team in this division.
And they surprised everybody. Puka and Kyren both popped off, right? I mean, both those guys were very good.
Which is a hit. I just think they're going to struggle still with Stafford. They have huge line issues. So I see them addressing the line in the 3rd or 4th round.
This could be a team that I could see Whitehair go to. That had just been released from Chicago, actually.
I
know he's a little older, but I do think he can go here.
Definitely a lot of free agent offensive linemen and right tackles out there.
Yeah, and this is another team that gets the value there too. Yeah, free agency.
I completely agree with you on this situation.
So, who do you think their big free agency signing is? It's not wide receiver, obviously. It's not running back. It's not tight end. I would have to say maybe.
I would assume
offensive line,
a left guard.
Yeah, that's who I think they go after.
I would assume a left guard.
I don't see a lot of, like you said, the edges. I just looked in. You are right. They're older. they're aged. To be nice.
They really are. Like,
I mean, I would like to see linebacking. I think they can get a little bit better on. I'd like them to get another inside linebacker, but they did draft. The kid out of Tennessee last year, I believe, in the 3rd round that I liked. Oh my gosh, I can't remember his name.
It's so funny. The first thing I click on when it's offensive line free agency, it was like Jason Kelsey.
He's firing.
So you know what? This right here, right? I would not be shocked. Okorafor.
Okay.
The kid out of Pittsburgh, right? They just cut him, and he was playing as a left tackle, but can play as a left guard. I wouldn't be shocked to see him, and he's only 26 and a half years old. I wouldn't be shocked to see them pick up a guy like that.
Byron Young, that's who they drafted in the 3rd. They're outside linebacker. I like him a lot. I think they need an inside linebacker now, too.
Yeah, they definitely need linebacker.
They did draft Steve Avila last year, so, he could have a better year, but I do think they need a tackle and center. A guard. 36th.
Did they play him as a guard?
I believe so.
Because Steve Avila was a left tackle in
I think they
TCU.
played him as a guard.
Okay,
we called him a guard because he was short-armed.
I don't remember. I thought I had him as a right tackle. But
Maybe
I don't
was.
remember. I don't remember.
That was a long time ago. It was almost a year ago at this point we were talking about this.
Andrus Peat, Cody Whitehair, Kevin Zeitler.
Zeitler's older. I think he would fit there too. I know some of those guys are older, but they can definitely be anchors for 2 or 3 years max.
Halapulivati, Vaitai. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of there's a lot of offensive line out there that is definitely pick up for like a year or two. Easily.
The Browns need to look at that.
I don't think the Browns are solid at O-line, and I love our coaching hire at O-line. It's the Seattle Seahawks offensive line guy. Like, I love the coaching hire at O-line.
We need tackles.
We don't need tackles. I think we just need to stay healthy. That's a big factor.
It's our biggest issue.
But yeah, like I agree with you. I can see them going offensive line in free agency hard, and then just hit that center of the draft with linebacker, right? like take that round
I mean,
3 pick and
Byron
go
Young
linebacker.
is a third-round draft pick. He did very good this year.
That's what I'm saying. Like they can go 3rd round and go get a linebacker or get a D tackle in the 3rd round.
And you know, it might be because of Aaron Donald. You know, Byron Young. Some of that heat is off Byron Young and more on Aaron Donald. I don't think that's the case.
All right. So since you got me into one thing, let's talk about the other team that I talked about.
Seattle.
This team.
They need defensive
broken.
line.
This team is
Their
broken.
safeties are good. Their D line is atrocious.
Okay, so we'll go over team needs first, and then I'll explain why I said they are broken. Team needs edge, D-line, quarterback, interior offensive line, linebacker, safety. Pretty much all defense, right? Like,
yes.
They don't need offense. They have running backs. They have wide receivers. They still have tight ends. I understand Noah Fant's going to be a free agent, but let me explain why this is broken, and then I'll let you get into it. The reason this team is broken,
let's see if we agree,
is because you've lost Pete Carroll. You're in a head coach situation. Who did they hire? I can't remember who they hired. They've lost every coach on this coaching staff. They've gone to other jobs, whether it be offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, offensive line
Dan
coach,
Quinn?
Linebackers coach, corners cap. Like they've lost. Dan Quinn was Washington. They've lost everybody when it comes to
Mike
coaching.
McDonald.
Yes. No way.
Mm-hmm.
They hired Mike McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the kid out of the defensive coordinator out of Ravens.
Ravens.
Yes. Yeah. I remember that.
Was it?
Yeah. They hired the defensive coordinator of the Ravens for head coach.
Yes.
So they are literally in a tough situation.
And I think, cap issue. I know 1.5
right there,
but
negative.
I think Tyler Lockett's best days are behind him. I think you need to trade him or cut him. I'm not exactly sure what he is at.
I think
right
they have
now.
an out on him this year.
Okay, I would definitely use that.
I'm pretty sure they have an out on him.
I think JSN and Boba are your. I mean, you got Metcalf, Bobo. Yes, Bobo. Sorry, because obviously you got DK Metcalf, JSN, and Bobo. And all those 3 guys, I think Bobo is going to be your Boyd, right? For Cincinnati, I think that's...
So, Tyler Lockett, based on their contract this year, they owe him $19 million next year, and I'm just going to assume that they take the out on him with Jake Bobo and JSN.
Yes.
And that frees up $19 million in cap space.
That is huge.
That right there would put them in the positive.
Yeah, easily. I mean, that's a lot because...
Another guy that they might lose this year, and a lot of people have talked about this, is Jamal Adams.
Which I'm fine with because he...
$21 million in cap space.
I'm okay with that. Because
so with those 2 guys, you free up $40 million in cap.
Yeah. You're at 38.5 essentially.
I mean, you still have Quandra Diggs, and you're not spending that much on him, and he's a little older.
You still have Witherspoon. You still have...
They need a safety. They need a safety.
And Tariq Woolen.
After looking at these outs, I might have actually slid safety up to probably right before quarterback.
I think
I'd probably go edge, D-line, safety.
Yeah, I think you can get safety in the second.
Or free agency.
Or free agency. I don't think you draft safety in the first.
Who just got dropped?
Eddie Jackson. He's older. I don't know how much he's going to ask. I would take him over Jamal Adams.
I don't know about that.
No, I'm talking about money-wise. I'm sorry, but Jamal Adams isn't worth that
I would
money.
take him over Quandra Diggs, who's getting $10 million.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying Jamal Adams' money is insane.
What does Devin Witherspoon make next year?
Nothing. He's on a rookie deal.
Well, his dead cap is $26 million.
Well, yeah. He's got 2 years left. Or technically 3, because I think it was a first-round draft pick, right?
His cap hit next year is $7.3 million.
Okay, it's not awful. That's good.
It's actually solid for a young corner.
What's Tariq at? Woolen.
Probably like 7.
I think he was the rookie. Right?
No, Tariq's going into his 3rd year.
So Witherspoon was the rookie. Then.
Witherspoon was the rookie. I'm trying to find.
I got them confused. With both of them, they have a very good young stud corners.
And Tariq was late. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
He got drafted, I think, in like the 3rd or 4th round.
Yeah.
5th round.
He's not making anything. The only issue is you don't have the 5th-year option.
He's making $1 million.
Yeah, so you got to pay him early.
They don't have till next year to pay him. They got time.
No, I'm saying I think you pay him year 3.
No, at the end of this year, they'll sign him
to an extension. Okay, I can see that. Yeah, if he puts up
with
another
that
good
4th year.
Yeah.
And Jake Bobo. Actually, if I remember, Jake Bobo was older. He came into the league at 25.
20, yeah, but he was a 4th round draft, or 4th or 5th round draft.
I think he went undrafted.
Did he?
Yeah, he undrafted.
Oh, my bad then.
So
Sorry.
But yeah, and my only issue here is obviously it's not the offense.
No.
I don't have an issue with this
the
offense.
defense is just very
outside of
problematic.
Geno Smith, and Geno Smith has been manageable with Pete Carroll in that run game. I don't have an issue with this offense. Justin Fields should go to Seattle. Would you quit saying Justin Fields can go everywhere?
Justin Fields does not go to Seattle. I'll take
Do you know
Geno,
who
I think
Seattle's
that's
going
good.
to get in the second round? It's Michael Penix.
Okay. So a better version of Geno Smith.
Way better version.
Oh,
of
I
Geno
know, but
Smith.
he fits the
Way
system.
better.
He fits the system.
I actually said Hendon Hooker should have went there last year, remember?
Yes, you did.
And it would have been a perfect
But I don't.
play for
I
them.
don't hate the Hendon Hooker to Detroit because at that point they weren't exactly sure with how confident they were with Jared Goff, and Jared Goff again still has those games where he cost you the game.
Yeah. We could blame the playoffs on him.
You can.
Penix is Geno. No, he's way better than Geno. Okay,
Yes.
stop it.
Penix is way.
Jesus.
I said similar, not like. Sorry.
Yeah, he's way better than Geno. Okay, let's slow our rolls here.
Don't you like Jaden Daniels, Kelly? Jaden Daniels is god awful. I'm sorry. I just don't
Michael
like him.
Penix is not horrible.
I would take Michael Penix and Bo Nix all day over Jaden Daniels.
I'm not knocking Jaden Daniels. I do think I have Jaden at 3 right now. He might be at 4. I'm struggling. Jaden Daniels will be 10 times Penix.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Oh my god.
Kelly, I have a question for you. Who's better, running quarterbacks or passing quarterbacks in the NFL? Just curious.
I am the smartest man alive!
And Patrick Mahomes is not a running quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. He thinks pass before he thinks run.
He does not
Simple
rely
as
on his
that.
feet. The only time he relies on his feet.
Hey, I didn't say fantasy-wise. People loved Cam Newton in fantasy. Did he bring you a ring? People love Lamar in fantasy.
Cam Newton is mid.
People love Lamar in fantasy. Has he brought a ring? People loved Michael Vick in fantasy. Did he bring a ring? People love Josh Allen in fantasy. Has he brought a ring? Shall I go on?
If you must.
These guys are capable of getting you to the game, but they're not capable of winning it.
No, and
Because once you shut them down and put the pressure on their arm, game over. Game over.
I think it's close with Josh Allen. I think of all the guys we talked about, I think Josh
Who
Allen
has
is the
brought a
most
ring
confident.
outside of Brady and Mahomes? What do you mean?
We're talking about
are
fantasy.
you talking about
No,
people that have ever won a Super Bowl?
No, we're talking about fantasy. Who's won you a ring in fantasy?
No,
That's
no,
what-
I'm talking about Super Bowl.
I'm
Fantasy,
sorry.
all running quarterbacks are good in fantasy.
Yeah.
What has a running quarterback done in a Super Bowl?
Oh, nothing.
Nothing. What do you mean outside of Brady and Mahomes? You do realize that Brady and Mahomes, what was it, like 2
Pocket
Super Bowls
pass-
where
I
they
don't
weren't
say
in the Super
pocket
Bowl?
passers.
What was it, the Falcons and
Matt Ryan.
Well, first things first, Nick Foles.
Let's look at
Let's just go right
let's
there.
look at the last 10 Super Bowls and see how many running quarterbacks have been in it.
Nick Foles, he won a Super Bowl. He's not a running quarterback, and he won it with his arm.
Hold on.
Ben Roethlisberger, he's not a running quarterback. He won it with his arm. I'm trying to think of the recent Super Bowl that, I understand that Mahomes and Brady have been in probably most in the last decade, but there's just one recently. And the Rams, Matt Stafford. I like how you put that. Who does he work for?
All right, Kansas City, San Fran, Patrick Mahomes. Kansas City, Philadelphia, Patrick Mahomes. First running quarterback on the list. Los Angeles Rams, Cincinnati. Neither of them passing quarterbacks.
What?
Or neither of them running quarterbacks.
Well, correct. Joe Burrow does use his legs more than Stafford, but Stafford won the game, right?
Yes,
Stafford won the
game. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes.
Tom Brady.
Kansas City, San Fran. So you had Jimmy G, Patrick Mahomes.
No,
Yes.
Kansas City.
Nope, you had Patrick Mahomes and Jimmy G. That was the year that they beat him. Yes.
No, that was when.
No. Yes. That
Was
was
it?
Jimmy G. Yes. That was
All right,
Jimmy G.
all
Patrick
right.
Mahomes. And then New England, Los Angeles.
That doesn't sound right.
And then you had Nick Foles in New England. Then you had New England and Atlanta. Then you had Denver and Cam Newton. Lost. Then you had New England and Seattle.
The whole. You didn't break me.
Then you had Seattle and Denver.
I mean, he's going back beyond, like, he's going into Cam Newton era. Then he can keep going. He can go into the Michael Vick era.
Here's the last one. We'll stop at Joe Flacco and San Fran. So Joe Flacco and Colin Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick, right. Didn't win the ring. Well, we could
quarterbacks cannot win you rings.
It's not that I'm not going to say they cannot.
Well, until one does.
The chance of their likelihood to win a ring is so slim.
Until they win you a ring, I'll want to say otherwise. They can't win you a ring.
Once you put the pressure on a running quarterback's arms, it's game over.
And we saw that with Lamar Jackson. We saw what happens with Lamar.
Cam was the one quarterback that had the best shot to do it, and he refused to pick that fumble up.
Because he had the best arm, I want to say, of these guys that we're talking about.
Not the accurate.
But he had the biggest. I said biggest.
You said best.
Oh, sorry. Biggest. He had the biggest arm.
We and my wife talk about that sometimes. When I say it's the best, I never mean the biggest. Okay.
I like to hype myself up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying. All right, we'll get out of this team.
Let's go to Arizona.
All right, let's get into Arizona. All right,
so this team,
I'll give you my needs, and then you can get into it. Obviously, they have the picks to do what they need to do this year. You have edge is number one need.
Yes.
Probably should have put D tackle there, but cornerback, wide receiver, offensive tackle, D tackle, linebacker, interior offensive line. So trenches essentially, cornerback, wide receiver. That's what they need.
Budda Baker, I would pick him up depending on how much he's due to make this year. That's the biggest thing.
That is like I want to say it was $16 million.
That's a lot. I don't know if he's worth that. That's a lot.
I want to say it was $16 million.
He's up there too, isn't he? Like 27, 28. I know that's not old, but
sorry, $14.75 million.
Okay, I mean that's not awful actually.
I think he's only 28. I would
pick
pay
that
him.
up then. You have 39 mil, so I would pick that up. I definitely agree with you that they do need edge, corner, D tackle. I think wide receiver is a little bit farther down. I think you get wide receiver in a trade free agency.
I think they should just sign Marquise Brown.
I do too. I don't see why they don't, or even go after
unless they're going to pick up Marvin Harrison
or go after Michael Pittman. But I don't think Michael Pittman leaves the Colts. I don't think he.
Here's my thing:
like
if you're going to go after Michael Pittman, why wouldn't you just sign Marquise Brown? Not saying that Michael Pittman's like worse than Marquise Brown.
I think Michael Pittman's better.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to compare the talent. Okay. I'm just comparing the ability on the field.
I think Marquise Brown is cheaper.
I think so too. And you drafted Mike Wilson, who performed well when they needed him. You still have Rondale Moore as your slot guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I put him up there. I don't think I did. I think Greg Dortch is a restricted free agent.
So I mean, he was good.
So
he had bright spots over the last few years.
So he's a restricted free agent, Greg Dortch.
Okay.
And then you still have your tight end. Trey McBride,
which I think is going to be big this year with him.
And I see them drafting a tight end probably around the 4th, 5th round.
Okay,
so
yeah, I'm not getting the tight ends, but I think edge. I think Lautu is what I would like them to see draft.
I think they need to go.
I think
and it sounds crazy because a lot of people they're going to draft wide receiver at 4. If Marvin Harrison's there at 4, I wouldn't be shocked.
If Marvin Harrison's there at 4, I take him. But other than that, I don't know.
But
if you have a top edge there, you have to take him.
I saw this mock. I wasn't opposed to this mock for Chicago. They trade.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Hold on. I get it. Hold on. They traded. They got the 1st round pick. They took Caleb Williams. Jaden Daniels, I think, went to Washington.
I don't hate that, actually.
They traded Justin Fields to the Patriots to jump Arizona.
That's just mean.
To get Marvin Harrison.
Okay.
And then Arizona, I think, took Jared Verse, which I have Jared Verse going to Arizona also. And then I think at 9, Drake May went to the Patriots.
And they have 2 first-round draft picks.
They do, in the top 10.
So they can definitely move up.
Oh, the Arizona Cardinals?
Yeah, they can definitely move back up. Let's say Harrison drops to 4. They can definitely take him and trade back up to get an edge.
I wouldn't be shocked if they tried to move that 71 pick to move back up into the second round.
Well, I would think they would probably trade 71 and 66 and 27.
You can trade 71 and 90 to get back into the second.
Yeah. Oh, second, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So they can essentially have 5 picks in the top 66.
Yeah. They were very smart with trading with Houston. Obviously, it's a later pick, but they're going to get value out of it.
3 picks. 27, 90, and 161.
I mean, essentially, it's 3 first-round picks.
That's crazy, man.
I know the one's the second.
I'm trying to figure out how they got 241 from Cleveland.
That was part of the.
Was
Houston
that one
trade.
of the last?
No, that was part of the Houston trade.
Oh, did Houston give them our pick?
I think that was the one from Houston through us.
I think they gave,
no.
Yeah, they gave both our picks. I think they did give 2 of our picks to trade up.
No, was that the Joshua Dobbs trade?
That might have been.
Was that the Josh
That might
Dobbs
have been.
trade? I think that was the Josh Dobbs.
No, they traded us for Josh Dobbs.
I know, but I'm saying we might have gotten that on top of
Like a 6th, and we traded a 7th to
yeah.
Dobbs. That might be. I can't remember. But they have $39 million free in cap space. They've got a lot free in cap space. So there's a lot they can do here. Obviously, the Kyler Murray contract's not killing them.
No.
Which is great for them, right?
Yeah.
So, and I wouldn't be shocked if I have them as first place in their division next year.
But so going to what I was going to say with number 4, I would like them to go linebacker, but if Harrison's there, you take, or not linebacker, edge, but if Harrison's there, you take him. What do you think is harder to find in the draft in the first round? Wide receiver or edge? Like top edge or top
This
wide
draft?
receiver? I'm just saying in general.
This draft, edge.
In general.
No, this draft, edge.
Yeah, which I think allowed to.
I think you can find depth in receiver in this draft.
Yes, because we said
Right. So I don't
seven
think
guys are
if you're going to reach, you're going to reach for edge and corner.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be shocked if their first 2 picks
Is like Lautu and Kool-Aid.
Well, I wouldn't be shocked if it's Jared Verse and Kool-Aid.
Which I'm fine. I like Jared Verse too. He's my 2. So
No, you're good. Latu's just a little bit slower, and they do need a D tackle. But Latu is an edge. I think that in this situation, I think they might go defense for the first 3 picks.
which they definitely could because offense you can fix a little bit in free agency.
And in free agency, you can spend money on T. Higgins if that's a guy you need. Mike Wilson's a deep threat, right? Rondale Moore's your slot. You need a big receiver with hands. That's a T. Higgins.
That or, again, T. Higgins.
And I wouldn't be shocked if Kyler restructured to get a guy like T. Higgins.
Or Pittman. Gabe Davis would be a good value pick here, but I'm not paying him more than $9 million.
We saw what happened to Isaiah McKenzie when he left.
You're not wrong. Gabe Davis
didn't do anything after Ken Dorsey left.
Gabe Davis is still good. I like Gabe Davis.
He didn't do anything. Dude, that receiving game was shit when Ken Dorsey left.
Oh, yeah.
When they fired
Because
Ken
they started
Dorsey,
running the ball a shit ton. That's why. Did you see how much they ran with Josh Allen more? Because
they ran with Josh Allen, they hit the tight ends, and then James Cook became top 10 running back.
Essentially, they went back to what it was when Josh Allen was there his second year.
We'll see what happens this year.
Outside of Stephon Diggs.
It's going to be really weird
and
this
again,
year.
that's Josh Allen, another guy who I think we've seen the best of. I think we've seen his ceiling.
I think this
and
is
I'm a fan of Josh Allen.
I'm actually excited for Arizona's draft this year
Me
because
too.
they made a lot of good moves after making the Kyler Murray signing and then the injury. Like it looked like their whole future was going to be ridiculous.
And the nice thing about what we do with the show is obviously we're fans of the Browns, right? But we love seeing how these teams draft and kind of move around because
I'm an Arizona fan. I lived out there for a little bit.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Arizona. I also huge Kurt Warner fan.
I mean, Larry Fitzgerald's my favorite player all time. So.
Oh, Larry Fitzgerald.
Him and Harrison. So
Larry Fitzgerald, as a person that's played the game, is in my top 10 easy. The dude was so humble, and he played for like as long as Tom Brady as a wide receiver.
I mean, him and Harrison were staples when I watched wide receiver wise.
I mean, I don't know, right? Like, I don't know who I would put above Joe Thomas and Larry Fitzgerald as humans. In this game.
Jesus.
Jim Brown. Maybe Jim Brown.
Just kidding.
Jim Brown was great on.
I don't know. Jim Brown was an asshole. He was a woman beater.
Yeah.
He was.
Hey.
He's
famous Stalin quote. We got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, bro.
Jim Brown was an asshole. Not to. Obviously, he's a Brown, but He had a lot of skeletons in his closet, not Skittles. Skeletons.
Yeah, I kind of want
I
his
still
closet
can't
now.
say my S.
I wanted his closet
I
now.
still
if he's
can't
got
say my
Skittles.
S. Part of my tongue is still numb. So
Taste the rainbow.
taste the rainbow. All right, so let's go to our last.
All right, the losing Super Bowl team.
That is the first losers.
All right, these guys are actually probably the biggest losers because this was a tough year for them.
They have a lot in free agency they're losing. Juwan Jennings is huge in value that they're losing.
I would say they didn't cost too much.
Mr. Third Down himself, as they called him.
So, team needs interior offensive line, cornerback, safety. Like, they needed that before this year.
Hey, Cleveland.
Okay, edge.
Juwan Jennings, please.
I have O-line up there twice. That's funny.
They do need a line. Maybe that was supposed to be
it should be
offensive
tackle. It should be tackle.
But yeah, interior
And then
line,
D tackle.
corner. Yeah, their secondary was very, very hit or miss this year. We saw that.
And just to preface this for Ryan and a quarterback.
No, you don't need a quarterback. Why? You're going to be paying more money to any quarterback.
Well,
you're
they need a
essentially taking
backup.
first.
Sam Darnold's a free agent, so they need a backup.
Go get Carson Wentz.
He's on the Rams. Technically, he's a free agent too, but
Go
I
get
don't
Joe
know.
Flacco.
Go get Cam Newton. Oh my God!
Excuse me?
Could you imagine if Cam Newton backed up Brock Purdy?
That is disgusting. Cam Newton, like I said, Cam Newton.
Hey Cam, I'll pay you $20 million to sit behind Brock
Here's
Purdy.
$2 to shut your mouth. Leave me alone, Cam Newton. Go back.
I had this ridiculous debate with Ryan this weekend about quarterbacks.
So let's go through their biggest free agency that they're losing. I would put Randy Gregory.
Chase
I don't
Young.
know. Chase. I don't know. I think him
Chase Young was phenomenal going.
Chase Young. So I talked with this about Steve today. My biggest issue again with Chase Young is I feel like he takes a lot of plays off.
He's a number 2.
Which he is, and that's why Washington just said, "Hey, we're done with him. Thanks for the years you put in. Better luck next time."
He doesn't
Here you go, man.
deserve number 1 money, but
No.
if they can find a contract and sign him for like a 3-year, $25 or $30 million deal,
I think you need to re-sign Juwan Jennings too. I'm sorry, I like him
can
a
you
lot.
find Juwan Jennings in this draft?
I don't know. Juwan Jennings is I don't want to call him special, but he
He's
has
a sure hands guy that's
he's
good on the quick route. I get it.
Yes, he has reliable hands, and he has a reliable route.
I think you can find that in this draft.
In the first round, maybe.
Juwan Jennings is going to want
Juwan
going to want somewhere between $5 and $8 million. I don't know if he's worth it.
Do you think you're losing Ayuk though? If you think you're losing Ayuk,
If I'm
next
losing
year, then you
Ayuk, I think I have to keep
and
Jennings.
I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think they're going to be able to.
I
pay all
don't
these
know
guys.
how much of the Ayuk shit's true.
Well, I'm saying
It's his brother put some shit on Instagram, and
I'm
by
not
the way,
saying he's leaving.
Instagram is a failing app, and how much of this is just bullshit that they're just maybe Instagram's
I
spreading
wasn't
rumors.
even looking at that. I'm just looking at longevity-wise for this team because, again, they're going to have to pay the quarterback soon. So these days of, hey, we can get anybody we want and just build a super team, it's over. This was their last year, essentially, to do that, I feel like.
I think that losing Randy Gregory, Chase Young, right, Javon Kinlaw, Tayshaun Gibson.
Cleveland Farrell, not a big deal. That dude was a failure in
I even think
in
that
Oakland or Las
John
Vegas.
Feliciano at the center, I think, and he might have been the backup center, but
Terrence Mitchell, didn't he play for Cleveland?
yes,
Okay.
that's kind of why I put that on there. I thought that one was funny too.
I thought I remember that name.
But it's just they're losing so much.
I really like Juwan. Juwan can go. He's
Greg Dortch, right?
I know he's better than Greg Dortch.
No. I'm just saying he's that guy. He's that guy just shows up when you need him.
He's Tyler Boyd. Right? I think he's a little bit more talented than Tyler Boyd.
I'd probably maybe similar.
Yeah.
But Tyler Boyd's a free agent.
Again, a lot of these guys.
Who do you pay more, Juwan Jennings or Tyler Boyd?
Who's younger? I think Juwan.
Tyler Boyd, I think, is younger.
So I pay the younger guy.
He's a year older than T. Higgins. He came in the draft before T. Higgins. They literally drafted.
I don't know. I think Tyler Boyd was. I think he's 28.
They drafted Tyler Boyd a year before T. Higgins. I think he's 27.
Juwan is 26.
So Juwan might be a year younger.
Tyler Boyd is 29. So I would pay Juwan. And Juwan he just turned 26 in July, so he'll be 27 at the start of next year.
Damn.
So
Tyler Boyd came in late.
Yeah.
25.
Yeah. I would pay Juwan. If I'm any team that needs a guy that, a low end 2, I would go pay Juwan.
Wow. Tyler Boyd.
I'm not taking anything away from Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd has been a very good high-end.
He was a second-round draft
receiver
pick.
3, low-end wide receiver 2. In
Dude,
my
he
opinion.
made $10 million last year.
Really?
They were paying their wide receiver core out the ass.
Well, that's not the reason they lost. The issue was.
It is. They
quarterback.
should have paid their offensive line. Not like the Browns can say
Or
anything. We
safety.
have probably the highest paid offensive line.
corner or secondary in general.
Well, they lost their safety, right? Like,
Well, he still proved it. He had a very good year with Atlanta.
you were salty about that contract. I remember how pissed off you were about
That made
that
no
contract.
sense to me. But guess what? He proved me wrong.
I remember
so-
how pissed off you were about
I
that
was like-
contract.
But Atlanta had the money, so they said, screw it. Why not? They weren't paying anybody at the time. So a lot of the times
I
you'll
think they
have
still
that.
have. I actually think they still have a lot of money, don't they?
I think Atlanta's 5th or 6th with free agency money.
Maybe I lied. They got 24 million.
Where are they at on the list? 13th?
And by the way, this is all based on a $242 million salary
Yeah,
cap.
before it goes up, I think it goes up, on an average of 12%?
I don't know if this is before it goes up. I think this is based on what they think it's going to go up.
I think it goes up, 8 or 12% every year?
Well, if you base it off the 8, it should be around 242.5,
Okay.
which I think is what it's at right
Yeah.
now.
So, real quick, who do you think will be the most improved team at the start of the football season?
In this division?
And who will be the least improved? I think
In this division.
In this division, just
Most
just
improved is very easy to say.
I think Arizona.
Most improved is Arizona.
At least improved, I would have to say would be the Niners.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're going to say least improved, like, how do you get better than 12-5?
I'm saying with free agency, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I should say judging their free agency and drafts, who will have better and worse.
So who has the better offseason?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have phrased it that way. My bad.
Who has the better off?
I think Arizona does, and that's just not because
I
of the
would
draft.
say the better offseason goes to the Rams
Okay.
because of not too much of a change in
Possible
coaching.
trades. Okay.
Well, in coaching, right? Like, so they don't have they already had a game plan. Now all they have to do is follow it.
Yeah.
Now Josh Gannon in Arizona, I don't know what he's going to do. I think he's going to go defensive in the draft. I think he's going to stay offensive in free agency. But usually what defensive coaches do is they draft high talent offensive players because they can coach the defense.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be shocked, right, if he does go get Marvin Harrison at 4 and then he goes and grabs a running back at 66. I wouldn't be shocked.
Trey Benson.
Because they still have James Conner, who's fairly old now.
Yeah. They've gotten their money's worth out of James Conner.
For sure they've gotten their money's worth out of James Conner. Dude, he looked like a stud when he left Pittsburgh. Like, I don't know what happened to him, but...
Injuries.
Tomlin. I mean, no, actually, the last year he had in Pittsburgh, I think he was post-cancer.
Yeah, he just beat...
And then he played very well, and then I guess they couldn't come to agreements. They traded him in his final year of his contract, got rid of him, and then he's been great ever since outside of one season.
So, okay, I can agree with that.
The only team, so the team that I see, actually probably if I were to say least improved, would be Seattle.
Okay.
Because I just think there's too much to fix in the front office before you even get to the roster.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement that happened with that team as
I feel
a whole.
bad for McDonald, right? Because
I hope they don't use him as the scapegoat.
Oh, could you imagine?
He deserves a fair shot.
Well, he's a first-year DC. Did a great job with that defense, but let's be honest, Roquan Smith...
It was a very talented defense.
Roquan Smith is a big factor that defense was as good as it was.
Him and Patrick Queen, yes.
Well, Roquan's ability to get to the ball just made that defense look great.
Oh, yeah.
And the same with JOK for the Browns,
and
right?
Davian Clowney, too. He had a very good year with
Danielle
Baltimore.
Hunter in Minnesota. Like, those guys made their defenses look better than they actually probably were.
JOK, yeah, exactly. I can agree with that.
So I think that when you're looking at Seattle, I think there's just so much to fix there. and then to loot, they've got a pretty old defense.
Secondary and safeties, I should say. Safeties.
Yeah, their corners are young.
Yeah,
corners
the
are young.
Tariq Woolen and Weatherspoon are, yes, but
They can
Jamal
build
Adams,
around that
Quandre,
too, right? Like if they go get a high corner pick, like let's just say they pick a safety at 16.
Do you pay if, let's say, Buda Baker leaves Cardinals? Do you go pay him and get rid of Jamal?
Well, Jamal's a free agent, isn't he?
Oh yeah, okay, but
No. Jamal was a.
you can cut him out.
Well, they were at minus $1 million, right? So they had
But
an
if they
out on
out
him.
of him, and they can go sign.
I think if they restructure, I'd rather have a restructure of Jamal.
just because he's been in the system. Okay,
Yeah,
I get where you're coming from with that.
and he's already played with Tariq, right? He's already played with
so
Witherspoon.
he knows the feel.
Yeah, so I'd rather do that, and then I'd rather draft a safety to have some tutelage with him and Jamal in that system, and then my real need that I think that they need to fill is probably like D tackle or D end.
Okay.
And try to get to because their biggest issue was trying to get to the quarterback. They could not get to the quarterback. Like a Max Crosby going there would be phenomenal, but
I don't think he ever leaves the Raiders.
I don't think he leaves the Raiders, but I'm just saying that's what they need is a guy who's kind of underrated at his position.
Daniel Hunter can go. I think he's a free
Daniel?
agent. Or Neil Hunter can go.
Danielle would be pissed at me for saying that
Daniel.
because his name's Danielle Hunter. She's like, it's spelled like Danielle.
That's why I say it.
I get it.
That.
I get it.
But yeah, I get what you're saying with that. You need some new faces on that D line.
Or maybe just like the Josh Gannon thing, right? Like maybe McDonald can coach a defense and increase the ability of these guys.
Or
which
D'Amico Ryan.
I just don't know because
there's
he
a lot
has
to
so
fix.
much talent, right?
There's a lot to fix on that team.
Yeah, it's good. So to me, the least improved team probably Seattle. Most improved team probably Arizona.
Okay. That would have to be. I would say mine would have been Arizona and Niners, but
Niners is an obvious choice though. 12 and 5.
But I'll agree with you with Seattle. There's a lot revolving around that team in general. It's some bad juju.
Yeah, and once we get done with the our team needs and discussions on the divisions, we will put a list out of our off-season rankings for these teams, and then we're going to get right into this draft because we will have the combine coming up probably right after we do our division talks, and then boom, we'll be in the combine, and then we're going to go right into talks about these wide receivers, safeties, cornerbacks, running backs, quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks is probably going to be a little bit down the list because we've already talked a lot about them. So I don't want to overdo
I don't want to
it.
beat the quarterbacks.
I want to see more of the. And
plus when we talk wide receivers and all that stuff, we'll probably continue to talk about the quarterbacks.
Yeah. So we'll get the quarterbacks, but it's not going to be something we do first.
Yeah, we already did tackles. So we're probably going to get into interior O-line post-combine.
Guard centers.
Yeah, we'll probably do guards, centers, and then we'll jump into the opposite side of the line and go D tackle,
D-line.
and then D edge, and then we go to the skills positions outside of that.
And that's where it gets really exciting. Linebackers, I love discussing linebackers.
I was right on a lot of them last year. I really
Young,
was.
I liked him.
A 2020.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are like, I don't like that guy. I was like, I love
You
this
turned
kid.
me on to him. I
Yeah.
didn't even notice him really.
Yeah, there was a lot of linebackers. Actually, one of the few positions, like I think maybe just because I've watched so many good linebackers in the career of like watching football.
You know what to look for.
I think you know what to look for in a linebacker. It's a little harder with offensive lines, a little harder with tackle.
And Steve's good with that.
Which is why I like having him on the show for
Yeah.
that. And then I think when you're looking at edge and outside linebacker, that's a very tough position to see where they fit in a 3-4, a 4-3.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing with how. And
that's why I like Ryan on the show for that.
Yeah.
Because he understands
Him and
the
wide
defensive
receiver.
schemes.
He's very good with wide receivers.
He also understands the defensive schemes for coaches. Yeah. So he'd be like, nah, they normally run a 3-4, then a 4-3. This guy doesn't play well on a 3-4. And I just so when you get into
physical
those
corner versus a zone corner, man corner versus zone.
Yep. Yeah. And then you get into the strong safeties, free safeties. So I really like having Ryan and Steve.
Yeah, that's that's kind of our plan for the next few shows.
Yeah. So for the next probably 2 weeks, moving up to the combine. Actually, like a week and a half because the combine's February 27th. So we got like maybe 10 days.
Yeah. We can get those done.
Actually, it's 11 days to the combine.
Whew. Well, we'll do an NFC East Friday. Sunday.
Yeah, we'll have the NFC done, and then as the combine's going, we'll probably knock out the AFC, and then once the combine's done, then we'll probably be right into it. And maybe we'll get it. Maybe next Friday we'll do 2 divisions because there shouldn't be too many rumors going on since the league shut down.
I won't be here, remember.
So next Friday.
I got the Bible study with my father that weekend.
Okay. All right.
But I can definitely give you my insights on it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, we will be here tomorrow, or not. Sorry.
Maybe I'll try
We're
to.
here Sunday
Today's
at.
Friday, right?
Yes, we'll be here Sunday at 8 a.m.
Sunday, we'll just do two Sunday.
That's fine.
We're gonna do NFC East and then NFC North.
North, okay, and then South.
Yeah.
We'll start with the
South will knock out Wednesday.
and then we can do Tuesday, right?
You want to do Tuesday? Oh, that was a question for you. Do you want to do Tuesday?
I don't care. That's fine. Whatever's easier for you.
Actually, I don't care.
Well, we can just.
We'll keep it on Wednesday.
We'll keep it on Wednesday, but yeah,
Wednesday.
we'll do that Wednesday then.
All right, so Wednesday we'll do NFC South, and that show will be at 5:30. And then Friday I will have the Cam show with not an OnlyFans, just an FYI for all you guys
Daniel
out there.
and Ryan. Hopefully.
Daniel and hopefully Ryan, we can get on here for that. And that's what is maybe I'll save the NFC North for that Friday because Danielle's gonna want to talk about
Then
that.
do that.
Oh, you know what? I might be able to get her in here Sunday.
Oh, just let me know. That's fine. Worst comes to worst, we can change it up.
So
I mean,
NFC East,
we
NFC
can do
North,
East and South, and then
no, NFC East, NFC North Sunday, and I'll get her in here. I'll get her in here on Sunday morning because I'm sure she would love to talk about it. She didn't answer my phone call today though.
boom.
I know, right? So that'll be it for us today. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Give me your takeaways for Friday.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Get excited for the draft. It's what we're 2 months away at this point, just about.
April 27th.
So we're
2 months and 10 days.
10 days away. Start the countdown because I already have kind of in my head. We have to though because we do the breakdowns. But yeah, tune in Sunday at 8.
All right, and I will say I hope you guys really do have a wonderful weekend, and we are going to get into this football talk. And if you guys have any questions about fantasy, dynasty, redrafts, I do an auto draft league, which I'm probably going to change this year. Super flex. I'll argue all day with about a tight end premium. I think it's the dumbest thing out there. If you're doing PPR, you already have a tight end premium. It's so stupid. But that being said, I don't have anything else for this weekend. I hope you guys do come join us Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. We will be here. We will be live, and we will be talking some football when no football is going on. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend, and peace out.